The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Hopefully everybody arrived safe in your office or wherever you're viewing the webinar today with some slick roads out there. If you guys can, for those of you that have been on the webinars before, if you can go ahead and use that raise hand function so that I know that everyone can hear me okay right now. Make sure that our sound is okay. Okay, I see a couple of hands going up. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, it looks like lots of hands going up. So, okay, so I'm assuming that our sound is working okay. If I don't see your hand up, I'm just assuming that you're good to go, or maybe you couldn't find that raise hand function. But I think that we are all set. So just so everyone knows, we are going to go ahead and record this webinar. So everything will be recorded, so you'll be able to play it back. For, of course, the agents that missed it this morning, I will probably be able to send it out shortly, probably early this afternoon. We'll get it sent out to everybody, and we'll host it on YouTube as well so that you guys can, again, play it back, watch it whenever you want to, pause, all that good stuff. That it makes it a little easier than when you're watching it live. So for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and I think everybody is muted. So the way that we're going to handle this moving forward, we've got Peter Toering with us this morning. He is from the Mighty Macomb office, and he is wanting to and willing to share some tips and tricks, best practices, how-tos, pretty much everything all-encompassing when it comes to advertising on Facebook, but definitely a kind of a beginner's approach. So if anyone has any questions, go ahead and find that chat function that is in the little toolbox for the webinar. So that is how we're going to be monitoring the questions moving forward. So I will keep everybody muted because we do have quite a few on today, and for sound quality and feedback purposes, we'll go ahead and keep everybody muted. So if you do have a question, go ahead and put it in the chat, and I will be monitoring that for Peter. We're going to go over probably 4 or 5 different topics, and at the end of every topic, we'll go ahead and pause. I'll take a look at those questions and we'll see what applies for that section. If I do see a question that I know is going to be answered later, I'll probably send you a quick message and just let you know to hold on, and that we will be going over that section in a little bit. So at this point, I am going to go ahead and hand things over to Peter. I'm going to mute myself so that Peter has the best sound quality, and I think we are ready to go.
Cool. Can everybody hear me okay? Robin, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you, so I think that we are all set.
So we are going to, the one thing that we're going to do that's a little bit different than on our agenda is we're probably going to hit these topics in a small different order than we may have otherwise, just because I think it's going to flow better. So I think that we're actually going to kind of start with best practices and kind of go from there. So what we want to start off with is, number one, who in the world am I and why should you listen to me about Facebook? And the answer is I'm not any kind of expert, certainly. But I have made a boatload of mistakes on Facebook. I've spent a ton of money figuring out what doesn't work, and so I'm starting to see some things that are really working. The other thing that we're going to do, we're going to start with kind of a basic approach. I mean, I'm not going to be talking about how you navigate Facebook or anything. I assume if you're on this webinar, you already understand that. What we are going to go over is a couple of things. Number one, what type of content you should be posting, some best practices in both your personal and business posts. We're going to go over kind of soft selling in your personal page. We're going to go over, should you have a business page? If so, how should your business page be used? We will go into understanding reach. We will talk about Facebook ads a little bit if we have time at the end, and if some of you guys are advanced and are looking to talk a little bit more in depth about lead generating Facebook ads, we'll kind of talk about that at the end if we are there. We will also talk about kind of a basic reach ad, or if you're promoting an open house listing, something like that. And then we will also talk a little bit about targeting your audiences, probably more about that at the end. So what we're going to start with is, why should you be on Facebook? I think that question has kind of become self-explanatory. Facebook is essentially just the biggest database we have. Instead of sending out cold mailers and doing cold calls, everybody's on Facebook, and it's a way that even if you don't have somebody's information, phone number, email address, you can still get a hold of them, which is awesome. the other thing, people now are shopping on Facebook. So instead of going and looking and Googling real estate agents in Macomb County or Oakland County or whatever, they're either finding these through a IDX site like Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia, the rest of them, or they're finding things on Facebook. And oh, I'm sorry, that's one other thing that we're going to talk about that I didn't tell Robin, so I'm just dumping that on her right now. We're going to talk a little bit about groups. That's something I want to talk about as well because I think that's really important. So they're shopping in either Facebook Marketplace, in the groups, in the for sale by groups. Facebook Marketplace, if you're not aware, is essentially like Craigslist for Facebook. I'm loading it up right now. You're going to see me kind of go screen to screen here. So there's even a housing category right there on Facebook. So people are shopping on Facebook. They're seeing things there. They're sharing listings with their friends, and it's a great way for you to be kind of known and be known. So let's talk about best practices. Oh, Robin wanted me to share some of my successes. I've had a lot of failures on Facebook. I have had a bunch of successes. I've closed, I think, 3 deals from people on Facebook this year. I've closed like 10 or so total from Facebook, and some of those are cold leads, and some of them are people that I've just met once, added them on Facebook, and they kind of see my stuff and go from there. So let's talk about best practices, what you should and definitely should not post. Let's also talk about how you kind of soft sell yourself on your personal page. We're going to kind of start off just on the personal page and not go to the business page quite yet. So the first thing, let's talk about the things that you should not post. I have a very strict kind of non-controversial approach to Facebook. So there are all sorts of opinions that I would love to share with everybody on my Facebook page. I generally shy away from doing that because I have clients on all sides of the political spectrum, on the religious spectrum. They have all sorts of different opposing viewpoints. So I try and take a pretty neutral approach to Facebook, and I also try and limit what I react to that's of those kind of topics. So I generally stay out of the political, religious, different viewpoints arena on Facebook, because not only people are going to see what you post, but they're also going to see what you interact with. And so I don't want that kind of poisoning the well, if you will. The other things that I try not to post, I try not to post tons of listings, especially on my personal page, because people it's not interesting. And I have this as a general rule. If I don't find it interesting, other people probably aren't going to find it interesting either. So I think that that's a good general rule. And if you think something's cool, other people probably will as well. So I also don't post the hard sells, hey, I'm in real estate, give me a call. Do you need to sell your house? Give me a call. I may do one of those every week or every 2 weeks or something, but I am not going on there 4 times a day and begging for business. I think it's really just kind of cheesy. And we want to set ourselves apart from the industry. Also, if you were doing any of the things that I'm talking about right now, don't be embarrassed. This is certainly not a comprehensive guide.
Hey, Peter.
Yes.
I went ahead and unmuted myself. Hey, can you just show them maybe your business page, or
Sure.
And just kind of, so like we talked about some of those best practices you talked about, like if you don't find it interesting, you probably you're not going to put it out there for somebody else to see. And same thing with, you're not posting lots and lots of listings. So can you just kind of show them? I mean, obviously you're seeing your ad review, but if you want to just kind of show an example of some of the things that you're posting on a daily basis, because I think the key is to still definitely infuse the fact that you are in real estate, right? But you do it like in a soft sell sort of way.
Okay, if you can overhear this, apparently the fire alarm has gone off at my office, so I will try and work around that. So generally, I'm more cautious about posting listings on my personal page than I am on my business page. But what I want to do, can I actually table that and talk about that when I'm talking about the business page entirely, if that's okay? Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, because we'll just do your personal page here. So, and then I'll go through. I'll show you everything I post about on my business page, and because it's different content. I post different stuff on my personal page versus what's on my business page. So what I try and do on my personal page is, number one, I think that I try and listen and interact more than I post. So I always try and go through and make sure, and if any of my friends are posting something, that I can either congratulate somebody, like, okay, somebody I know is having a baby today, and I never just scroll through. I always either like something or I can comment, even if it's just a quick, and I'm going to kind of do this in real time, and you're going to have to excuse my spelling because I am trying to do 5 things at once. And so I always try to, you don't want to be a lurker on Facebook is my big thing. So as you're going through your own news feed, the best thing to do is to interact as much as you can. And then if it's something that maybe it's somebody I know and it's something because you will see some people that maybe you haven't seen them in a while, or maybe it reminds you of something. And then what I might do is go over into Facebook messages and send them a personal message right there and say, hey, congratulations on this, or whatever might be applicable to that. So the stuff I try and actually post is kind of a mix. So, that's my other thing I'm violating my own cardinal rule in my cover photo, but I try and also, if you're out partying, I try and keep that off of Facebook. So the only business related stuff that I will post on my personal page, I may share a listing now and then, but stuff like this. Okay, hey, got some new buyers going to be enjoying this awesome view this spring and summer. I happen to co-op this within my own office, so I gave them a shout out because plus then their friends are going to see that as well. I love posting pictures of my dog because I don't have kids, and nobody wants to see your kids. Just kidding. I love seeing them, but for right now, it's the dogs. It's if interesting stuff like I like hockey or whatever. Just so I also share non-controversial stuff that is personal to me too, because I want to see, I want my clients to see the personal side of me. I want them to, I have kind of the same persona in real life as you will as I do in my business, and so I like for my clients to see that part of it as well.
Right. Well, and I do think that sometimes I've had some agents that have said, they either worry about posting personal stuff, not necessarily personal. And if you're worried about it, I think my rule is then you don't put it on Facebook. But right, I think you just said something that's really, really important for the agents to understand is that you still have to be you. Like you still get to be you. There is something that will definitely about you that will attract business, that will attract people to work with you. So I absolutely think putting your likes out there, some of your hobbies, some of the things that interest you, all that is, it's the same way that we interact with people around us that we're not doing business with. You tend to talk and have conversations with people that have like ideas. So I think that that's a really smart thing to say, that absolutely you still are going to infuse bits and pieces of your life. It's just, they're neutral things.
Exactly. And I think that if you're too sterile, if you've got, you never have a candid photo of yourself, if you've never got, funny personal stuff, people can kind of see that and they can see it's fake. So I just try and be genuine. Like I said, I just try and stay non-controversial. But other than that, I try and be as genuine as possible, and I try and be funny, with varying success. And I do interact a lot with my hobby. For those of you who know me, I'm a big outdoorsman. I'm a duck hunter. I'm a fisherman. And so I really interact in that community, and that's brought me business as well, just from being involved in that community. Then we're friends, and a great example is we sold a house to somebody. I met him on the lake one day, and I added him as friends on Facebook, and like a year later, he bought a house for me. So that is the other thing I do is I don't do business cards anymore. I have business cards if somebody needs one, but my general response if people say, hey, do you have a card, is I kind of tell them, hey, I just ran out of my last business cards, but let me add you on Facebook real quick. That way I have their contact information as well, and they don't have to go out of their way to call me or email me. They can just start seeing my stuff right away. And I try and soft sell. This is an example of a bit of a soft sell. When I'm like, hey, I saw this hearse that's mocked up like Ghostbusters, and I'm like, okay, it's always an interesting day when you're out showing houses. So it lets me know, hey, I'm a realtor, but also I'm having fun. I'm not saying, hey, please call me, please buy a house. It's not beggy, and it's still fun. I will give a shout out to one of our home inspectors did just an unbelievable job. I'll give a shout out to them if we've got something going on from other folks that, anytime I can tag somebody, anytime I can add somebody into the post, anytime somebody else is going to share it, all of their friends are going to see it as well. So that's obviously a good thing to talk about there. Same thing here, another soft sell. Hey, it was sunny and nice weather outside. It's a great day to show a house. Again, we've got my dog because really people would much rather see my dog than they would rather see me. Another thing that I'm starting to do on Facebook, I'm going to actually start, as you guys know, with Coldwell Banker Homes for Dogs. We are doing an adoption event here at our office. I know Commerce did one as well. And I am actually going to start a promotion myself involving helping people out with adopting dogs or whatever. So find something that you like, and because if you enjoy doing it, then it's not work anyways. If I'm posting about my dog or if I'm posting about something I'm having fun with, then it doesn't seem like as much of a task. My fiance loves The Sandlot, and again, people think just stuff that people think is fun. Here's another soft sell. I happen to transfer over to the Canadian. I know you guys think that our office is in Canada. It is not. It's just close. So we were up in Marine City on the river. So it's, again, just a soft sell. So before we go any further, any questions on kind of what I'm posting on my personal page or how I'm interacting with people or anything like that?
Let's see. I'm taking a look at the question. The only question that I have sitting here right now is just kind of a general rule of thumb. It says, how much time, I think, actually we get this question probably a lot. How much time should I be spending per day and or per week managing my Facebook page? So, I think with a lot of what you're saying, this is definitely a daily task. It's not a set it and forget it. So, what would you think if you had to kind of sum up? You're doing it throughout your day, right? It's just part of your day. You don't sit for an hour, but it's just like, we just watch you go in there and like things and comment and do that sort of thing. So, if somebody was just starting, like if you had to tell somebody, because you think practice makes perfect, I think you have to devote some time to it.
So what I would start with is for your business page, I spend less than an hour a week on my business page outside of ads. Ads take a little bit more time. But other than that, I spend about an hour a week on my business page. My business page, I try and do two things, and we'll talk about it when we talk about the business page posting strategy. But I have scheduled posts, which are things that are not going to change in real time. And then I will share things as I see them in real time, community events, things like that. So you can schedule posts on your business page. You can't schedule posts on your personal page. There are some services that you can use like Buffer where you can schedule stuff. But I find that most of the time when I'm posting things, it's stuff that I'm out and about anyways. It's real time stuff. So one of the ways that I started doing is I just started being more aware of when I'm out and about. What are fun things that I'm running into? What are some things that I'm enjoying about my day? And how can I post that? Another thing that I'm starting to do more regularly is I saw this study that we see like 18,000 negative things every day and only like 2,000 positive inputs. And so I'm starting to try and bring some positivity to my page. I haven't done a ton of it yet, but a Monday motivation or something without being cheesy, but just something that can be positive and uplifting. So you'll start to see more of that from me. That being said, you will see I don't always practice what I preach. There's times when I haven't been posting multiple times a day. There's been times when I have neglected my business page, and you see it in your reach. I'm in one of those slumps right now where I'm so busy that it has kind of dropped off. But that does happen. The key is getting back on and just keeping rolling with it. So that's how I run my personal page. I do not have like a specific, every day. I try and at least connect with like 4 or 5 people every day, whether it's commenting or whether it's, my thought too is it doesn't cost me anything to like anybody's post. It doesn't cost me anything to send them a personal message. It doesn't cost me anything to, to comment. The other one suggestion I would have is the unfollow button or the snooze button is fantastic. So I do have a ton of realtors that I'm friends with, and not that I don't love seeing all your stuff, but I want to interact mostly with my friends outside the real estate community. So don't get your Facebook feed too clogged up.
Can you actually, that's a really good thing, because that's kind of a new thing. So can you really quick show them? Because that's something that does come up. I actually snoozed my own sister for 30 days. Don't tell her.
Yeah, there's lots of people.
You just need to take a break from people. So really quick, just if you can show them.
So we go right up if you see somebody's post, and I'm not going to snooze her because she's a friend of mine, but if the 3 dots at the top, and snooze them for 30 days, or you can unfollow them. It does not notify them that you're doing that, but it is a good way that you can stay friends. You can still go visit their profile, see what they're doing. But this is what I've done. Robin and I had this conversation the other day that everybody that's super political on my Facebook, I've unfollowed all of them because I just couldn't handle it. I'm like, enough is enough, and I've unfollowed everybody. Or at least, like I know that if there's some major political event, I'll go and snooze everybody like that for 30 days. Yes. So that is a new feature. And that being said, you can do that. I would say if you're going to get involved with that kind of flaming stuff on Facebook, that you better know your client base and your audience. If every single one of your clients is of a particular persuasion, I guess that's fine. But it's just something I think is better left outside of our business.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. I don't, let me see here. Let me check and see, but I don't think there's any hands up and I don't see any other questions right now. So yeah, you can go ahead and move on to the next topic.
One other point here is I'm always looking for when I'm posting stuff, what's a thumb stopper? So generally speaking, we're looking on our phones, you're scrolling with your thumb. What's going to stop that thumb from scrolling? And video is infinitely more effective than pictures, and pictures are infinitely more effective than text. I don't think I ever post anything that's just text. If I do, I will make sure and use the handy dandy colored background. So if I am going to post something that's just text, I make sure, and which is very rare, I make sure to use one of these colors backgrounds so it still shows up as an image. So we never want to do just text. All right, moving on from our personal page. I would say that ideally twice a day is awesome for your personal page. Not everybody in your friends list is going to see everything you post. We're going to talk about Facebook's algorithm a little bit later, but don't worry too much about it. Unless you're spamming it 10 times a day, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Let's talk about groups. This is something that I did not tell Robin I was going to talk about, but it is something that I think is important. So Facebook has a ton of different groups, and the best way to think of them is if you were a member of online forums before, the group on Facebook has essentially replaced that. So there are groups. I'm in groups that are in my hobby group, in my interest group. I am also in groups that are real estate. There's tons and tons of real estate groups. I actually run one. There are a ton of them. You know, houses for rent for sale in Lapeer County. I work up that way, so I'm in that one. I'm in, you know, houses for sale. Our own Care Drink Wine runs homes for sale in Macomb County, and so what they'll have, that is a great place where people can go and look at. It's a great place to post listings or to post ads of, hey, you know, if you're interested in buying a house, talk to me. This is a great place for you to do that. I am in an insane amount of groups. I don't follow every group that I'm in, so you may have to unfollow that. I'm in a lot of the swap sites. So that's the online garage sales, garage yard sales, because I can post listings there. So do check the rules of the groups. Some of them will not allow realtors to post. And if they do that, then I will there are some workarounds to that, but I try and respect that as much as possible. And I try, again, not to be super salesy, but just to give those people value. So you can see most of the ones I'm in are either hunting or they're, you know, real estate groups. I'm also, if you're a GMAR member, the Greater Minds group is fantastic as well. And that's just kind of some places for advice. So I think that those can be really helpful. The other thing too that is helpful is everybody that is involved with those. I'm going to pull, I think that a post recently was on this one. But your friends can actually see these posts too and can actually tag you in something. So if somebody says, hey, I need a realtor, I might not find it, but if somebody says, hey, I need a realtor, your friends can tag you in that as well. Then you can go, and I would not comment. I would actually go and send them a personal message. I think that's a little bit more effective. So groups are definitely something that are worth joining. They're worth going on, even if it's, like I said, even if it's a yard sale. I know that there's also some mom-to-mom swaps. And just try and kind of respect those rules. But other than that, groups are a great place to post your new listing, to post your open houses, and then also just kind of to make yourself as a community expert if it's a group of, you know, sometimes your neighborhood will have a group. Like I have a Facebook group for my subdivision that kind of posts the goings on of the subdivision. You'll have your nosy neighbors in there. Sometimes you'll have them for just the, you know, your community, and those are great places to get involved and be the community expert. It's kind of like what City Data used to be. Any questions about groups or how you use them? I know that's just a very brief overview.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I see there's one question sitting here that just says, how do you set up a group? So I think that might be just a little bit of confusion.
How to create one?
Yeah, so you definitely could, but I think to start, definitely you're not going to probably want to, you're going to want to find some groups to join or to follow first, right? So, right, you could essentially decide that you wanted to set up a group, but it would have to have a pretty big purpose. And unless you have a big following and people that follow that group or are in that group, it might not be as effective.
You can invite your friends.
Right.
But
so
all
maybe,
you do is
why don't you show them where would you find a group? So like if they're wanting to find a group that's in their area that they wanted to be a part of so that they can share things, you know, how would they do that? Just like, so right up in the search bar, you can see.
Actually search groups. Let me go back. You can actually search groups, and then you can also, and I do this on my phone, so I'm trying to remember where I do that on my desktop, but there is a search groups. It's right one of the tabs that you can just go to groups and then you can search, and you can search real estate, or you can search for sale, or anything like that. If you just go to the groups tab, you can just search.
Awesome.
So you can search, whatever, houses for sale, or you can go to the Discover tab, and it's going to give you stuff that you think thinks you might like, and then you can just boom, join, and go from there. Now, if you wanted to create a group, all you do is go into the tab here and create a group, and then it'll ask you all sorts of, okay, name your group, invite your friends, and then you can select the privacy. If you only want members to be able to see the posts, I would strongly discourage that. I would make it a public group where anybody can see the group and anybody can see the posts. That way people can share out of those groups as well.
Well, and then that way you probably are going to have a higher likelihood of people wanting to join your group then, right?
Yes, yeah. And the other thing too is if you're going to start a group, I would start being pretty non-salesy. So I would kind of pull yourself out of it. Maybe just, hey, if you've got some permission to, post some other people's listings, whatever, if you can just, even post your own. But I wouldn't be as promotional to start. Again, I try and soft sell. I'm just not a salesman, and I don't like when people sell me on stuff. So I just try and bring value to people. So I think about, okay, what's going to bring people value? And it might not be real estate, by the way. You might have a group that's, Birmingham, crocheting or something. I don't know. Whatever that you're fired up about. If you're fired up about it, chances are somebody else is too. And the great thing about the internet is, even if 1/2 of 1% of Birmingham's population is involved in crocheting, it's still going to be a pretty decent following, and you can have a platform there and people that have joint interests, and then again that you can kind of branch off from, and they can see, oh, you're a realtor. That is, I think, probably my most effective. I think it's more even effective than my business page, because you're connecting with people. So again, Facebook is just another giant database. I think that's the best way to view it.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
Now let's go on to any other questions on our business pages. On personal pages, how to post, what not to post. The other thing is timing. I do try and post fairly spontaneously, but I do find that first thing in the morning and then like noon and then like 7 o'clock at night are pretty good. The times that people are taking a break from work.
Yeah, and you know what, you may actually know this. I should probably know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you because you may know. For a while there, everything did stay in order, but is it still true that when things get engagement, they still get kind of thrown to the top of someone's newsfeed? Okay,
yep. We're going to talk about this a lot with your business page, but Facebook has an algorithm that essentially Facebook is trying to figure out who you want to see most. So whoever you're engaging with most, you'll probably see posts from about 10 to 20% of your friends list. On a regular basis, which is why if you see something occasionally, you're like, wait, I didn't realize that person was still existed. That's why. So you're not going to see things as so absolutely. So if you're posting stuff that's getting more engagement, it's like getting the wheel rolling. Once that wheel is rolling, it keeps rolling. So if you're posting stuff that's getting more engagement, it's going to, by nature of Facebook's algorithm, it's still going to be seen by more people. And again, we're going to talk about that a little bit more as we transition over to the business page.
Hey, I've got another question here, Peter. Yeah. Do I have to have a personal page to have a business page, or can I just have a business page? I think I know the answer to that. I think you can just have a business page, but I think functionality.
I guess my thought is why would you would be my better. So can I follow up with that and say, I think that 95% of realtors probably should not have a business page, and that's going to be a pretty controversial stance I'm going to take on this, and I'm going to explain that. I think that your personal page is infinitely more, unless you are consistently running lead generation ads, I think that your personal page is infinitely more exciting than your business page, and it's going to, especially Facebook just changed their algorithm again this year for 2018. I think that it's going to be more important than ever. They're actually, really heavily monetizing the business pages, so your organic reach, and we're going to talk about that as well, is going to be very limited going forward.
Okay.
So I would very, very heavily discourage that.
Okay.
And I know the privacy concerns of, I don't want people seeing my life and this. Our whole game is people, our great CEO, Mr. North, told me like 3 years ago when I first got into the game, he said, we're not in the real estate business, we're in the people business, and we happen to sell real estate. And for me, there's no better way of being in the people business than people seeing my life. I mean, I've even posted stuff when I'm at the office or when I'm writing an offer, or when things have gone south. I mean, I let people into that, and I think that people appreciate the authenticity. So don't be afraid of it, and don't be afraid of being on camera, being on video. I'm ugly too, and they said, one of our agents here said, hey, you're doing this from your office so we don't have to see you, right? And I'm like, yes, that's exactly what it is. So don't be afraid. It's okay. All right, let's go to the business page here. All right, so let me start off by saying I think that most of you probably shouldn't have a business page. And I'm going to tell you why. I think that number one, the personal page, you can reach just as many people for free. I think that it can be just as engaging. You can more easily send people messages on your personal page. And I would say that I get more leads outside of lead ads from my personal page than I do from my business page. So if you are going to decide to have a business page, it needs to serve 3 functions, and really 2 functions, because one of these functions is going to kind of go away. The first is going to be, and most important, is going to be lead generation, but we're going to talk about that at the end, is going to be actually running ads to generate leads specifically to a landing page or with Facebook lead ads is number 1. Number 2 is going to be establishing credibility. I am finding that people are viewing my Facebook page instead of my website. My website is really, it's functional, but I don't update it. I do very little, at least with my Coldwell Banker website. I do have another website that's just, and I'm going to show you, it's just an IDX feed is all my other website is. And there is like a little about me, but that's all people are looking for. Sellers want home valuations and buyers want listings. They really don't care too much about you, but they are doing research, especially sellers. NAR stats said that it's like, I think like 4 out of 7 sellers are only interviewing one agent or something like that. It's an insane stat, but they're just not interviewing as many agents because they're doing their research online. And so Facebook is a great place to establish your credibility. So to start off on a business page, you need, before I would even, if you were just starting from scratch, I would say that you need a 2-week posting base before you even start people to, inviting people to like your page. If you just start, if you have a blank page and you start inviting people to like it, no one's gonna like your page because they're gonna say, what's the value for me? This is just another real estate agent. That for a long time, my page did not even have my name on it. It was called Amazing Macomb County Homes or something like that. And it was, but I found that I was too disconnected. So I do have my name on it, but it is not as salesy as it could be. I would have, like I said, a 2-week post base where you're posting a couple of times a day. So you maybe have 20 or 30 posts before you even start inviting people to like your page.
I think, that's, Peter, I'm glad that you said that, because I think that that's kind of big, is that people develop a business page and they want to share it right away because they want people to follow it, or they want, I don't even know what they call them anymore, followers or fans. But right, I think you have to spend time to build content so that when you do get people that want to start engaging, they have things to look through and click on. Because if they get to your business page, your brand new newborn baby business page, and there's 1 or 2 things on it, very quickly, like, it doesn't give them a reason to come back for more, or to even, to stay connected with you. So I totally agree with that. I think you have to spend the time, if you're going to commit the time to actually do a business page and run it effectively. I think you have to, kind of incubate it for a little bit before you put it out there for the public.
Yes, and I think that listings are not a great way to do it. I share things to my business page a lot. What I try and stay away from is there is a lot of, and you can have services that post on your business page for you. I generally discourage that because they tend to post a lot of the same stuff. And it's, okay, 10 things that you need to know on your home inspection. Okay, if you're needing to know 10 things about your home inspection, you're either you're already under contract, or you're already looking for a home. And if you are already under contract and need to know about a home inspection, you're probably not looking for a home with me. So what my goal is to get people, on average here, at least in Macomb County, people sell a home every 7 to 8 years. My goal is to get them early to mid-cycle and to incubate those people for, it is a longer term game. So it's to get to them before. So it's either people who already, so I focus on people who A, already are homeowners, or B, are going to become them soon. But maybe you're not quite ready yet. So people that are in what we call the dreaming phase, they're 6 to 18 months out. So I do I'll get to this strategy in a second, but I try and post stuff like this. Okay, this is home decorating. It's maybe I see a cool thing in like a site like House. I'm gonna go to that, and I try and keep it actually pretty low key. Some of these people, they post these like amazing, extravagant kitchens that I don't see in my area. Now this might change depending on what area you're in, but I try and post things that would be nice for my area. So things that not only look really cool, but they're also something that's doable or attainable in my area. So which means that I tend to not post the super extravagant kitchens. I will share out sometimes the CB blog. So Matt is doing a great job with that. And then I will also share out the real estate update that Kim Pollock puts out as well too. So I will share those things depending on how I'm feeling. I might even put them on my personal page or share them to my personal page. I will also post community things. So what people are looking for in your business page is, this takes us to kind of our second purpose. Like I said, establishing credibility is one. The second is being a community resource or a market expert. So you want to be the guy, the go-to guy in your community. So that's not only for real estate, but it's also for other things. So you're not going to see them potentially pop up. We'll talk about reviews in a second too. But sites like, and I'm going to pull one up here, community sites. So this is one for our area that they already run. This is just strictly news and things about Macomb County. A lot of times this will have some interesting stuff that I can share out and then make a some sort of insight about. So if it's, okay, the history of the old kind of, that's, always look for something that is exciting to me. Okay, sure, this one. All right, they're really slacking today. But if I see something that's interesting here, I will share that and then make a comment about it. So I never just share anything without making a comment about it. And I can share it to my business page. So to share something to your business page, you see something you like, you hit the share button, and you're not going to hit share now public. You can hit share. I'm sorry, this is for your personal one. You can do this two ways. Again, I do this on my phone a lot of times. You can either hit share to a page here, or you can hit the share button and go, instead of share on your timeline, share on a page you manage. So that's a great way to do that. So this would be, in being a community resource or being the area expert, what you're going to be looking for is your reach. How many people are you reaching? And this is why I was saying that this point is kind of going to become irrelevant. I'm not worried about posting as much on my business page as I used to be. So the way that you can check how many people you're reaching is right on the bottom of each individual post, or you can actually go into your insights. So I'm reaching, on average here, you can see about 100 people. This is significantly down even from last year. We were averaging 300 to 400, and the year before that, even more than that. Facebook has really tamped down on organic reach. So this is just reach that you have not paid for. And my fire alarm is going off again, beautiful. So Facebook is going to try and like I said, tamp down on this because they want you to pay for things. So if you want to check how you're doing, you can go up to the Insights tab. And what that's going to do is you can actually take a summary of actually how you're doing there, and you can look at your paid view, your organic reach. You can see, okay, we've had 79 paid views in the last 30 days. That's way down from, you can see this was where it used to be. These things are down. Our reach is down. We used to be reaching over 1,000 people a week, which is why I'm not focusing as much of my time on actually posting on my business page anymore. So let's talk about Facebook algorithm a little bit. So Facebook essentially wants to put in front of you the things that you want to see. So the more that you engage with something, the more that you share them, the more that you like their posts, the more that you're going to see them in your newsfeed. And your business page works the same way. So if you have engaging, funny content and it's being engaged with, it's going to be seen more. So that's something that certainly you need to understand. Again, they are tamping down on this, so your organic reach on your business page is going to be minimal. So again, I don't think this is the best use of your time, but I do think it's there just to establish credibility. You can go on, you can schedule a post, and the way to do that, you can schedule as many posts as you want, and you can schedule them up to a week in advance. Is anything you post, and I'm actually going to post this. Because again, I think it's useful and it's fun. And also make sure if you're doing this from your computer that you're posting as your business page, because otherwise it will show up on your wall. So I'm going to share the link, and then I'm going to get rid of the link, and the picture is going to pop up, and we're going to say something like, or we're going to schedule this. So I'm going to schedule this for tomorrow.
So I think that this is awesome, Peter, because I think, right, so many times throughout the day we find things that you may want to share, so scheduling them is awesome because you're not going to want to share everything at that very moment. So, right, this is going to be perfect because, right, weather is not ideal today, but this will be good for people to see tomorrow. So that's awesome.
Exactly. And this is stuff that's static, so it's not going to change. It's not going to be something that's a breaking news story or anything, and we're going to hit schedule. So instead of it just hitting publish, you hit the arrow tab, hit schedule, and then I'm going to go ahead and schedule this for tomorrow, and I'm going to have it go on at right before 8 o'clock because that's a good time. We're going to schedule that. So you can schedule this at as many posts as you want up to a week in advance. So you can go on. If you are somebody that does not want to do too much with your business page, which again I think is the right decision, you can go on Monday morning and schedule 10 posts for that week, and then they'll just kind of go out as you go, and you can monitor those. So again, the more engaging content you have, the better off you are.
I love the scheduling, but I think that the one thing to really make sure that everyone knows is that just because you scheduled it, it's not a set it and not have to look at it. You do have to monitor. You should be engaging. If someone responds or makes a comment, you need to make sure that you're responding back, because otherwise, right, it's just kind of lost.
I respond to every comment. So whether it's on my personal page, whether it's on my business page, I respond to every single comment. Obviously, if something is commenting something insanely negative, I won't, but it never happens.
Right.
So I do respond to every comment, even if it's just liking their comment or laughing at it or whatever it is, just because it's just, people know that you saw it, they know that you're engaging, that they know that you're kind of a real person. So, all right, we're going to spend our last few minutes here on any questions on like how you should run your, I know I'm pretty negative about just posting on your business page, but any questions on just the business page before we move into advertising?
The only question that I really see, I'm responding to a couple of these, but so basically, let's say that you just started your business page and you have built up some content. What would be your first step? Like, how do you start to get people to like? Do you invite your personal Facebook friends? Right.
Yep,
so if you can show them how to do that, that would be awesome.
And you go on, and if you're on your page, you just go down. Make sure too that when your page is set up, make sure that you have call to actions, so something that you can send you a message, somewhere that they can kind of reach out to you as well. I like having a video cover page. This is our new blue one. Anytime I can have video, it is always better than having pictures. So again, Here we go. You're going to come back down. The other thing too is I have one unresponded message that was spam that's driven my response rate down, but you want to respond faster, it's going to have a fast response badge, and people will be able to see that too. You can do two things, and I have stopped. I've been about at the same follows for the last year because I'm not actively trying to get more people to follow me, because again, a lot of this content is getting kind of tamped down. So you can just go through and you can just invite people to like your page. Okay.
Awesome.
So go through and click and send an invite. It's pretty easy.
Is it from
the
construction? Yeah, it's not terrible. Is it just from the construction next door?
No, I think it's just that, I don't know. We have bad luck at our offices. That would be the first way. The second way that you can do it is, and we're going to talk about this as we move into ads, this is a great segue, is you can have an ad that gets more likes to your page. I would run an ad for likes if maybe you're at 100 likes. I think that once you're above 500 likes, you've got enough credibility, you've got enough sway, and enough influence that you're going to be okay. So I said I'm at like 850, and I'm not really, I get an occasional like here or there, but I'm not really worried about it anymore. To do that, what you're going to be looking at is, so we have a couple of different objectives. If you go into your ads manager, and now that I'm going to back navigate so you can see how I got here. Sorry, some of this is second nature, so I'm going to slow down. Again, under your tab, we're going to go to Create Ads. If you want to look at old ads, you can go to Manage Ads. This is Facebook Power Editor. So if you have not used it before, this is where you can pay Facebook. If you are looking in your news feeds and you see something that says sponsored, that's a paid ad. So there are a couple things, there's all sorts of things that you can do here. I essentially use, right now I use two, which is conversions and lead generations. You can also do traffic, you can do brand awareness and reach. So the difference on this is reach is generally going to be specifically boosting one post. I'll say this too, I don't ever just boost a post. I don't ever look at a post and just hit the boost button, because you don't have near the amount of customization that you do with going into the Power Editor. So the brand awareness is if you want to create a generic ad. It's not one specific post. It's okay, whatever your value proposition is. The market is hot. Come talk to Peter Toering Realtor, or whatever that happens to be. It's a more generic brand awareness ad. It's just to make people aware of who you are, what you're doing. So it's not any specific post. Traffic would be, they used to actually have a likes campaign. They've rerouted all of this. Now it's in traffic or engagement. So engagements can be page likes. Traffic can be showing your page to as many people as possible, but you can make an engagement campaign. It's going to ask you to name it. You can also, we're going to get a little bit complicated here, so I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible to start, and then we'll go back, we'll talk about split testing, things like that. So when you're talking about, I don't ever do post engagement, because I really don't care if 500 people see one post versus, because again, I think that people need to keep seeing your stuff, I really care more about either responses or page likes. So let's do this for page likes, especially if we're trying to build it up. A split test is just if maybe you have two audiences that you're testing this against. Maybe you're testing different demographics. That's a great way to do it, but that's a little bit more complex. And you really want to watch your ads, watch the way that your ads are performing. You want to make sure that you're not spending insane dollars and getting nothing in return. Also, you want to watch how your ads are performing, because if your ad is performing poorly, Facebook will, I call it, they'll bury you. So you will have, maybe you have a 2-week ad, and they'll show your ad for the first 3 days and then for the last 3 days, just so that you pay your money, but nobody's going to be seeing your stuff, because again, Facebook wants to show you what you want to see. So you can create audiences. I have a couple of different audiences. So once you set up an audience, you can save them. Of course, my names are really creative, audience 4. But when you're creating an audience, and then once you've created an audience, you can also create a lookalike. So we're going to create a new audience. We're going to create a custom audience. And we are going to do, so this is the people who have already engaged with us. These are people who have interacted us with. This is brand new, so I don't know too much about it. This is actually all new, so you guys are gonna have to bear with me here. Like I said, I haven't done a likes ad in a while. I would imagine, yeah, we're gonna have to look into this, because I don't actually want to reach any of these people. I actually don't want to engage with the people who like my business page at all. So we use the people that live in, we're going to do Macomb, Michigan here. Plus or minus whatever your radius is. If you want to include any other locations or exclude, maybe you don't work in East China and you want to exclude that. Okay, that's too far for me to drive. We're going to exclude that. And then we're going to look at ages. Of course, for me, home buyers, I tend to put about 25, 26, all the way up to 65 plus. I do all genders. Sometimes you will find that certain ads perform better with men or with women or with certain ages. And then we go into detailed targeting. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to exclude people. And so that's going to be people who like my page. I'm going to exclude people who are, and you can look into all sorts of things here. You can look at jobs. You can look at, so I'm going to exclude people who are already realtors or loan officers or whoever. If they're interested in real estate, they're probably a realtor. If that's their, if their, job title is, if they're employed by one of these. So I have this big long list, of things that I always exclude, and I save that. So anybody that's interested in anything real estate related, I want to exclude. I see it all the time. I see other realtors ads. It's the biggest waste of money. What I do want to add is people who I think are, and this is actually, Facebook will actually tell you who is ready to move, or at least it used to. Yep, likely to move. So this is people that Facebook knows an insane amount about you. It is it's pretty crazy what they know. And so we can kind of go through and say, okay, it actually pulls homeownership data and then sees, okay, based on the average likelihood, people to sell in the next couple of years, who's likely to move. You can also add people if it's something specific. If you only want, if you're maybe doing luxury, you can browse income levels, you can job, education levels, you can, only, college graduates or whatever you need to do. So, and however you want to create this audience, this is going to be up to you. And then, like I said, I always exclude people who like my page. I do not want people who already like my page seeing my stuff again with an ad. The only exception to this would be if you have, somebody that's maybe you're running a promotion so that the people that like your page already are going to want to see that. I always do automatic placements. I don't want to manually deal with it. And then you can set your budget. Remember, this is your daily budget, and then there's a lifetime budget. I always do it on a per day, and I actually don't set a start and end date. I just monitor it and shut it off after whenever I want to do it. You can do as low as $1 a day. You can do as high as however much you want. Some people spend thousands of dollars a month on Facebook. I normally start with like $5 a day. I don't do a start and end date because, like I said, Facebook will sometimes hit you for the first couple of days and then for the back end. I would rather run it continuously and then just shut it off when I want. Any ad is going to take about 3 days to get rolling. So give it some time, but after that, be watching for what it is. So you can also you can either have it be where you pay per like, which can work if you have an effective ad, or you can pay for the amount of people you reach. So that's going to be up to you as well, and you're going to have to test this with your particular content. I know that we're going through this pretty quickly, and then this is those steps are going to be the same for no matter what kind of ad you're running. So now that we've gone through those steps, we're going to talk a little bit about the kind of the different types of things you might have in an ad. So this is specifically an engagement ad, but we could also use this same setup if we were advertising a listing or we were advertising an open house. Those are great things to add, to advertise, and you can use those same audiences. Once you've saved that audience, you can use them again, and then what you'll be able to do, I'm going to go back one more time. Oh, shoot, that was the wrong thing to do. Bear with me here for a second, guys. Once you've selected that audience, you can go back and you can do a, so I'm going to continue where I was. You can just select that ad again. Forgot I had to go back within the Power Editor. So once they said I've saved that audience, again, if Facebook would cooperate, I can use a saved audience here. So this is my first time home buyers one, or I can then create a lookalike audience. If I want it to go to this audience, but maybe something really close to that, I can then create a lookalike, which is just a similar one to that, but maybe has 1 or 2 differences. So this is going to take some playing around with. Part of this is knowing who your target demographic is. Do you want to work with young families? Do you want to work with seniors? Do you want to work with first-time homebuyers? You can kind of customize those demographics there. I tend to not do single image ads. I think that it's just not as effective. I try and either do slideshow or video. So again, we want to be the thumb stoppers. We want to stop people from scrolling through. So, and using video, again, infinitely more effective than doing pictures. Pictures infinitely more effective than text. So for a slideshow, you can do one of 2 things. You can either upload your own images. So if you've got a listing, you can upload your images from there. You can also browse their library and use some stock photos, or at least they used to let you do stock photos. There we go, stock images. So maybe we need, just, okay, like a home. All right, great, cool. Again, I would actually stay away from stuff like this because it's super generic. I would try and have something that's a little bit more engaging, maybe something like this. And again, these are for generic ads. If you have an open house, obviously share the coolest pictures from that open house. I try not to share the front of houses. If you have I try and share the coolest features. So if your house has an awesome pool, or it's got a really cool kitchen, or it's got some amazing bathroom, that is those are the images that I want to roll with, because they're way more exciting than just, hey, here's the front of a house. So we're going to select some images. I'm just going to select any random images here. And then you can change your image duration. I actually have it pretty quick changing. And then we've got the slideshow there. Okay. So I also try and shut off, if you can, you might not be able to do it anymore. I try and shut off the desktop. I think this already has it. The right column desktop. I shut that off. I run it just mobile news feed and desktop news feed are the only places I run it. And it'll give you a some stock text. You can change the text. Maybe you have, okay, okay, I'm gonna come visit my open house on this day, whatever you need to do to run that ad. And then you can just confirm it, and Facebook's going to approve it. I know that's just a quick overview, but any questions on just the basics of creating an ad or how you can set it up? I know we ran through it very quickly.
Yeah, no, I don't see any questions in here right now, Peter. I think I did have a couple people just maybe get a little overwhelmed. So I have let all of them know that we're gonna, and I get it. And I think you said something that whether they caught that or not, you really just have to kind of play around. So I think, if any of them have, again, you said an open house, or, even though maybe sharing a listing isn't necessarily the most effective way, to spend $5 to know what you're doing, to understand how the functionality works and what the reach looks like and what your engagement is from running an ad, it's not necessarily, a bad $5 to spend. So I think a little bit of it's going to be trial and error. And I think, moving forward, I think it's just one of those things that you have to kind of jump in a little bit and attempt. Again, you don't have to put $50 on it. Like you said, you can do $1 a day. So one question.
I would say, go ahead.
I see a couple of questions here. So do you have to have a business page to run an ad? Which I believe the answer is yes. You cannot run ads from your personal page. So
no.
So like you had said, a business page in itself may not be the most effective way to market, but it is kind of the gateway into doing some of these other things. Then the other question I have, do you find ads are more effective than mailers? So maybe, that may be something that's a little bit more directed towards you and your experience. What
1,000,000% yes. So let me show you this. So if I have I'm just going to pick just a specific audience. Okay. And I'm going to start a new ad here just so that I can show you guys. So say that you were trying to reach 2,000 people with a mailer, right? You're going to mail to, or even 1,000 homes, let's say that. And let's say I just wanted brand awareness, right? And I just wanted a mailer that says, hey, I'm a realtor, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull, that might cost you, so it's what, 35 cents for postage or whatever, and then it's going to cost you, probably, so let's say even if you can do it for 80 cents or something per house, which I don't actually know if that's true. To hit one mailer to those people, those 1,000 people, it's going to cost you $800. All right, here we've got a potential reach of 160,000 people. Our daily reach, if we have a $5 budget, always underestimate what this estimated daily result reach is going to be. Okay, so for $5 a week, this ad realistically would probably reach 200 people a day. Okay, so but for $35 a week, I can reach 200 people a day. So if you look at your per call, it's not close is the biggest thing. Now, is it as effective, per hit? Probably not, because you have something physically in your hands as a mailer. But the one thing that you really have an advantage here, I wouldn't say that if you're doing just the brand awareness, mailers are very effective. But where I think that this really has an edge is, and I didn't want to get into this too much because it goes way beyond, but there is something called lead generation, and we could do an entire webinar just about this. But this is where Facebook will actually is grabbing leads, and someone can actually interact with this and have a form that they have to fill out, and it will give you their information where it takes them to a lead site. So for example, if you wanted to have a lead ad that has a home value, I would actually bring them into this landing page where they can, and again, I know we're getting way too advanced here, but long answer to a short question, yes, it can be significantly more effective. And I think that if you ran Facebook right and you paid the same dollars that you were paying in mailers, you'd have an infinitely better return. That being said, you also have to, I will say this as a caution, if you're going to do that, and you're going to spend all the money, have a really good lead follow-up system. Have a CRM, have drip campaigns, so it goes into a whole nother can of worms there. Robin, am I answering that effectively?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's still, I think, again, we're probably getting a little advanced only because, right, I think that this is, yeah, I probably am not even answering your question well. So
absolutely reach infinitely more times as many people on Facebook as you can with mailers for the same dollars. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I think it's just kind of one of the things that bring all of this full circle. You really can't just do one thing and think that you're going to market to the masses, because everyone has a different, everyone is different, right? You're going to have the people that do need something in their hand versus there are people that are strictly on the go, mobile, digital, and they would they'd throw your mailer away.
So part of that is, of course, the demographics of your area. If you're marketing to a senior community, you're gonna have a way better response with mailers.
Right.
So know your audience again. But I would say this again for the ads. Generally speaking, unless maybe you want to create an ad for a listing and you just want to say, hey, I want to. This would be the basic listing ad or basic open house ad. I would say use everyone in that location, and we're gonna real basic here. Use everyone in that location, plus or minus 25 miles. So if your listing's in Macomb, use that plus 25 miles. If it's maybe a move up home, all right, 30 and up, and then just so you've got 1 million people, and then just do this, just do likely to move. And now we've got an estimated 7,800 people. That's probably actually a little bit less than I would like. Maybe let's bump this up a little bit, our radius. I like to see about 20,000 people in my potential reach. All right, that's pretty close. If you just do that and you save that audience for that listing, that's a great audience. Very, very basic. Just, okay, don't even worry about the demographics. Just, your listing area or your open house area plus 25 miles, and then people who are likely to move. That's it. Or people who have interest in real estate or something. But again, there you can get some realtors and it's no fun. And then just set your budget per day, and then just create the content. That is the basic way to do it. Boom, carousel or slideshow, couple of images of the house, just upload, all right, 1, 2, 3 pictures of the house, and just say, check out, when you get to the text, check out this amazing listing at 123 Main Street. So one key to that is if you want to link to the listing, maybe it's on CWM website. So I'm going to look at what the open houses are right now. All right, so this house in Franklin Road, it's a sweet one. I'm not sure if this is one of you guys', but this is a sweet listing. All right, we're going to use a site called Bitly. So it's just bitly.com. And you're just going to copy the link here. Take it into Bitly, paste it in, and it's going to shorten it so you don't have that massive URL. And that is the best way to, if you want to link in, Okay, check out this amazing, and again, I'm not going to capitalize or anything because I'm not posting this, open house in Franklin this weekend. And I never put, again, boy, my spelling is bad today. I never put the price, I never put anything like that in the ad. I want them to know more, and I want to drive them to my website. So I always say, for price, more pictures, and more details about this amazing house, click here. Boom. And now you have the bit.ly link, and people can click right through on it. They're going to see the houses. They're going to come to your link. Hopefully, they're going to contact you. Again, link it to your website. Please do not link in Zillow listings or Realtor.com listings. Just going to send it to somebody else. Is that a real basic understanding of just a very, very easy way to create an ad?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that, we're seeing things. I think you have a few other additional things that you do that they may not see when they, with like your CRM and all of that good stuff. So, right.
Yeah, I'm staying completely away from that.
Awesome. Yep. So the basic ad stuff, right. I think all of these other things, what you are, like after you pick definitely the format of what you're looking at, what they're seeing below that is basically just what the ad preview, what it's going to look like on, and you can see also what a mobile view looks like, all of that good stuff. So you can kind of
let me even add a picture into this real quick. And you can see then, all right, let's select an image. I'm just gonna like select an image just for giggles here. Okay, and that's gonna bring me to one last point that I have. But so this is what your image is going to look like. And if you have a carousel, it's going to have multiple images there. So this, you'd have multiple image there. So that's going to, yeah, exactly. You can see how it's going to look on Instagram too. You can link through, I'm not going to talk about that too much, but how it's going to look on a mobile feed, how it's going to look on a desktop feed, and then you just hit confirm. Also, if you're thinking about running an ad for an open house, just give me a call or a text message or an email, and I can actually kind of walk you through it for your specific open house or listing or whatever you want to advertise. Might be the best way to do it. So this leads me to one last thing that I want to talk about on my business page that I actually completely forgot about before. So any other questions on ads? I know that it's, I'll tell you this, guys, too. If you're overwhelmed, don't worry about it. I spent, this is embarrassing, but I spent like $3,000 last year trying to figure out ads, mostly unsuccessfully. I also probably spent 200 hours, again, unsuccessfully, most of it, trying to figure out ads and trying to figure out how they worked and trying to figure out what everything went. So I think the best thing is it's situation by situation. Give me a call and I can kind of walk you through for your specific ad. One last thing that I think is really important is for every new listing, every closing, I make something like this, a welcome home, a just sold and under contract. Here's a couple of them that I've posted. You know, a just listed, a fresh listing Friday. Welcome home is what I normally do for buyers. A just listed, you know, sold. The way I do these have great reaction, and it's not, again, it's not super salesy. It's just, hey, this amazing house sold for you know, over asking price in one day. That's not the case with this house, but you know, whatever that is, you know, okay, hey, you know, welcome my buyers to. It's kind of like the same thing you do on your personal page, but a little more salesy. A little bit more official, you know, just put an amazing set of buyers in this beautiful home in Lake Orion, and that's where you might do a click here to, you know, if you want to be next, or click here to learn more and link them to your website, or call me at 586 blah 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 if you want to learn more. That's a good, you know, I always have a call to action and those kind of things. So, and the way I do that, Robin, do I have time to show them real quick how I do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, you know, we're being, the whole thing is recorded. So if people need to jump off, they definitely, I mean, I'm going to share this later. So yep, go ahead. I mean, really, I would say probably another 15 minutes tops, maybe. And then again,
this will take 5 minutes.
Awesome.
Go to canva.com, canva.com. It is free. And you can create a design. Just pick a design. It'll even tell you this is for social media, for Facebook posts, so that you have the right dimensions. You can save your templates. You can see a bunch of the ones that I've done in the past. I also used them for my save the dates because I'm cheap and didn't want to have somebody else do it. but you can pick I'm going to show you this. Let's do a Facebook post. This is all free. It's beautiful. And then we pick a layout. So I'm going to pick this layout, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of house and drop it in, and then I'm just going to add in my text. And this is very, very easy. And this is a cool way. You're not just sharing the picture. It's kind of a, an advanced, better way to share that out. And it's a little bit more exciting, a little bit more visually appealing. I use this for Instagram as well. And then you can just download it right into a PNG file and share it as an image. Really, really helpful. It's free. And again, you can have all sorts of really cool designs. And that's a really great way to do it for, even for open houses. You can see this template I have here. This house is, open house. This is under contract. This is just listed. If you have maybe again, I try and do a really cool feature. The other thing too is this is going to be kind of a goofy one. So sometimes it can actually give people the impression that you're doing more business than you are, especially if you're a new agent. This is a great tool for you. I can have 3 or 4 posts. Unfortunately, we don't allow coming soon. So really 3 posts, and 4 if we have an open house, for every listing or buyer I have. So if I've got a buyer that goes under contract, I can post under contract and then again just sold. Or when we have, so this is just listed and then it went under contract. These are the same house. And then I did a separate picture for when it's sold. So we can do, again, you can take a couple of different pictures. Don't share out the same picture. You can share out different pictures or different content, and people will, it's not that we're tricking people, but it's when they're seeing a variety. Okay, wow, I just saw, I'm seeing, new posts from them all the time that they're having new listings and they're under contract and they're closing. So it certainly, again, helps to kind of build that credibility and build some of that, a little bit of a rapport with those buyers and sellers. So Canva is a great free tool. You can also use PicMonkey or any of the other free sites that you have. One other thing, if you need content, Houzz is a great place to go. The Realtor.com blog is fine if you want to share blogs. I try not to share blogs just because I don't like having to click through something. I like to just have it right out in the open. KCM, which is Keeping Current Matters, is a great place. You can download images there, or infographics. I really like infographics, but all sorts of different places that you can find some of these. I know that we didn't cover everything. This was a really kind of a basic intro to Facebook. So I know that we left kind of a giant can of worms open in ads. We may do another one that separately goes into ads. The reason I want to let everybody know, it's not because I didn't want to bring the value of ads. It is because if you want to run lead generation ads, you need a system in place. So you need a client resource manager, a CRM. You also need a front-facing website. So an IDX site that can lead capture, something like this, again, that can have home lists, and then a CRM, which I'll give you an idea of mine, just in case you are interested. We will have this is just kind of the lead into the next one that we'll do. This is something that can have your leads all in one place, letting you know who you're drip campaigning, who you're talking to, who you need to give a call to. If you don't have something like this, I would strongly advise you to stay away from Facebook lead ads until you have a setup like that. And I would, if you're going to go away with this, I always want you to go away from one action step that you can do today. It is go through every time that you're seeing something interesting, comment on it, engage with people, send some messages, send some Facebook personal messages, and then also videos are great. Live videos are fantastic. You can do from your personal page. You've probably seen our live videos when you were touring our office or if we're out at a cool listing. But the key is soft sell on your personal page and be interesting. If it's something that you're interested in, it's something that people will also be interested in. So I think that's we're scratching the surface at least. Any other questions before we?
The only other question that I see on here is someone asked about Canva. I'm not sure about this. Can you make flyers on Canva?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
can make flyers. Okay,
Yeah, you
so
can make literally anything you want, pretty much.
awesome. And so for the most part, Canva is free. It's kind of like anything that's free. You will find things that they may try to upgrade or sell you, different
Yeah.
graphics, different layouts. But for the
Like
most
if you
part, the
wanted,
free things are totally adequate.
yeah, like so for this, like for example, if you want these little icons without a watermark, they make you pay for them. So there's like little things within Canva that yes, they will try and make you pay for, but there's so much free content that it is not anything that's tough at all. So yeah, there are all sorts of templates you can actually look through. There's even templates for there's actually some real estate templates already set up. So I know this is not Facebook, but boom, and literally all you have to do with these templates is add in some pictures and add in your verbiage. So if you need a really cool looking open house flyer or something like that, Canva is a great place to do that as well. So I know that that's not Facebook, but I think it is still really a cool way to do it. And it's, again, another thing to share on Facebook. I think that you'd be much better off sharing a listing in this format, new listing for sale, and then with a link, than you are just sharing the standard. And I'm going to go into it and show you, just sharing the standard, like, okay, hey, this is a new listing. It's the something like this. Too many of these are just incredibly boring, and we just see, okay, this, yeah, great. And not to rip on CB Lapeer, but all right, this is just a link. There's nothing exciting about it. It's just a picture of a house. It's not even a great picture of a house. And then you've got to click to the real comp matrix listing, which is, again, okay, we're clicking into something that really doesn't take us anywhere. So take it back to your own website and post something exciting, something eye-catching. I think that posting something like this is a heck of a lot more eye-catching than posting something like this. These are all free things that you can do. I would encourage you not to spend a ton of money on Facebook. Do the free stuff. Also, if you want to learn more about some success in doing this, I will have Robin email this out, but there is like an hour-long, this gal, Sandra Pike, who is in Halifax, Nova Scotia, who that's all she does is post on her personal page, and she goes through in like with another 15 minutes of just talking about what exactly she was posting and how it worked for her. That was something that I really found helpful. So Sandra Pike at the Success Summit from Tom Ferry. So
yeah, go ahead and you can send that to me too. So I'm going to follow up with everybody that was on the webinar today. I'll send out some tutorials, some basic how-tos, all of the stuff that Peter covered, as well as a list of like Houzz and Canva, some of the different sites that you talked about for sources for them to be able to use. So yeah, I mean, I think at this point, unless anybody has any questions, I mean, you're definitely welcome. If you think of something later on, you're definitely welcome to, send Peter an email, send myself an email, and we will try to get that answered for you, and also share whatever the question and answer was with everybody, because sometimes I know how that goes. You're gonna probably, some of you will probably get off of the webinar and go in and start kind of messing around and trying to look at some of the functions in the ads and in your Facebook page, and you might hit
just because I'm like always, of course, behind the eight ball here. Facebook is also a great way to keep in touch with past clients, because I was just thinking about this. I add all my clients as friends on Facebook, which means, yes, you can't complain about your clients on Facebook anymore, but I think it's a great thing to do, and it's a great way to keep in touch with people. I just had a old client get in touch with me with a referral because we keep in touch on Facebook. So it's a great, I always do, and because I consider my clients friends too. I mean, obviously, if you have a nightmare client that like you hate each other at the end of the deal, maybe not. But even still, I might still stay friends with them, and maybe you'll be personally friends. So I think that there's no downside of if you're not posting anything crazy. There's no downside of adding clients, as friends on Facebook. I try and add everybody I meet anywhere on Facebook. So other than that, that's it for me. If you have specific questions with ads, I know ads is a big can of worms. Please get in touch with me. I am going to, Robin, can you send out my number?
Yeah,
and
yep.
stuff.
I'll send out your contact
Give me a call.
information and yeah.
Give me a call, and that's the best way, and I can physically walk you through the best way to do that for your specific situation. So I'm here to help.
Sounds
Other than
good.
that, thanks for hanging on, for listening to me for almost 90 minutes. That's insane. You guys are better than I am. So thanks so much. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself, Robin.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Wednesday, and I will be in touch. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.